Chad, hey, congratulations on your new horror film, It Feeds.
Thanks so much, Kay. Thanks for having me.
You know what? This film is a lot of fun, especially the creature feature. I mean, that creature really surely gives out nightmares. But we have to ask, like everybody else, where the original idea came from for Feeds. I mean, what nightmares did you get?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think a big part of this creature and, why this film was special to me was because, uh, I was trying to write something that was, felt familiar but felt a little bit different. And anytime you're trying to write an entity or a demon or a creature or something like this, it's always a struggle because, where does it come from? Is it a part of a religion? Is it part of a book? Is it a weird artifact they found? Is it this or that? And it's like they all kind of seem like, we've been there, done that kind of thing. And it wasn't until, I really tried to make this creature something that was personal to me. I had lost both my parents to cancer since I had done my last film, and I had dealt with it myself as well. So it was such a huge part of my life in such a negative way that one day I was like, well, what if I just created like a demonic version of cancer? What if I just created, this entity and all it wants to do is feed and destroy, and its mythology is like, you don't even really know where it came from. It's just been around doing this for, I don't know, thousands of years, and nobody can really, figure it out. And then at that point, I got to write some, awesome characters that would go kick the crap out of it. So it's as soon as I kind of cracked that mold and figured out what I wanted to do there and why this movie was special to me, I wrote the entire script in about 7 days, and then went from there, polished it up, and the first people that we brought it to financed it. And before we knew it, we were on set and we were shooting this movie.
That is an interesting link. I'd even not knowing that now I could totally see it after watching this film. For you, Chad, your filmography. I looked at your filmography, and there's so many horror films under your list as a director and a producer. Could you tell us what is your love for this horror genre, and how do you not run out of ideas?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I grew up watching horror films. I watched them, at a very, very young age. And I've always loved them. And I've always loved, the comedy of them, the scares. I just love that you can kind of do anything that you want in a horror film. I mean, I think they're also so much fun to make, trying to come up with a new concept that people haven't seen before, and going out there in the world and sitting in a theater with film fans, because like horror fans are really a community that is like no other. We've traveled the world even with this film over the past couple of weeks at festivals around in all different continents, and just like everyone you go to, it's like film fans, genre fans, horror fans, the nicest people you will ever meet, gathering and celebrating this genre with so much passion and like so much excitement. And there really isn't like another genre that has, the passion and excitement of the community of horror fans. We also go to conventions and all that stuff too. So I just, it's always been special to me. I've always loved making them. I've always loved watching them. And, I definitely have scripts that are dramas and, different things. And I'm sure at some point in my life I'll branch out. But for now, I just, I think I just personally have always been so excited about, coming up with some cool movies that scare people and allow people to kind of get out of their comfort zone, even if it's for 90 minutes, and just like get scared and feel uncomfortable, but still be able to sit there with your popcorn and pop and like, know that you're safe.
So true, so true. Now, what I find unique about this story is you introduced something that I refer to clairvoyant therapy. Could you tell us about how you came up with that concept, and what are the rules in your film for clairvoyant therapy?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up on Nightmare on Elm Street. I think I loved watching those films and loved watching the idea of breaking reality and kind of going into someone's subconscious and, just being able to kind of see what their mind has created if you stepped into their brain for a moment. and how terrifying, you can make those things be. I think, everyone has nightmares, and everyone, that's generally, the original horror movie is just nightmares, right? So we, yeah, being able to kind of like come up with a concept like that, allows us to kind of go in and play. And I also love movies like The Cell. I love movies like The Fountain, The Ring. Like, so much of these films kind of inspired me to kind of put this all together. Also, Stir of Echoes was another one that, when I was coming up with this concept, it's like I always loved those hypnotized scenes, and just the visuals that kind of came with that. It's always something that stuck with me, and always something that I wanted to do. And it wasn't until, kind of cracked this idea that allowed me to go, oh, hey, damn, here we go. And let's mash all this stuff together and see what puzzle pieces fit together. And luckily, so many of them did. And it was really, really fun making this movie to kind of, be able to kind of finally take those things that inspired me and kind of pay homage to them. And as far as rules go, pretty simple. She can travel into someone's mind to deal with their trauma, but if she gets hurt in their mind, she gets hurt in real life.
Very, very simple. How did you come up with the creature look, the entity? And I also want to know, on set, what do you call this creature?
So we went through a couple different designs, and again, we had this impending actor strike that was coming up, so we really had very little time in pre-production to kind of come up with this creature. And I wanted it to be dark, and I wanted to reflect kind of the concept behind it, of the fact that it was always hungry and it just wanted to feed. So I wanted it to be thin and have sunken eyes, and you'd be able to see its ribs and see its veins protruding out of its arms. I wanted it to really feel like, you're looking at this creature that, is just perpetually hungry and starving. And its only focus is just feeding. So that's kind of where it originally came from. And we had done a couple different designs, and Brooklyn Marshall, the actress who played the creature, we had her in full makeup in a couple times, just trying to kind of figure it out, and we didn't really land on it. And eventually I came up with, I started cutting together little pieces of different makeup things, whatever, and I had this thing that kind of looked like a ransom note of like just different eyes and things that are all pieced together, and teeth, and some of it was visuals of people that have starved or passed away, and so it was this kind of bit of a mess of inspirations, and we were running out of time to actually nail this creature, and we had a new design done and molded and sculpted, and we did it all. And it wasn't until the first day of set that we got to see it on Brooklyn. And thankfully, I remember going up, and after 4 hours of them doing makeup, going up and being like, yes, we nailed it, and even then we were like, okay, darker here, this, that, and it really started like, designing while it was like everyone's downstairs, like lights are up, cameras ready to go, and we're still like, tweaking little things. And then she came downstairs, and we did our kind of first scare, and we were like, boom, yeah, this is gonna work. This is exciting.
Most excellent. Well, let me wrap it up with one last question, because this film is so fascinating, from production sets to makeup to the acting, and all your pieces came together. But I always love to ask horror directors and horror filmmakers like yourself, because there's always that debate between practical versus CGI, and I want to say you use both here in this film. Which side are you on this debate?
I've grown up not having the money to do CGI. So, I mean, I've done so many movies practically, and even with this one, this movie is basically, the majority of it's practical. I don't think we have any 3D elements in it. We just have like some 2D stuff to clean up stuff. But really, what you're seeing on screen, the majority of it is what we shot on set. I think we have one little tentacle thing that's a bit of a CG element. But a lot of it is just, clean up. We removed the creature's nose, which was always dark anyway, so it's a very subtle effect. But anytime you see the creature standing there, it's like, that head to toe, that is exactly what it looked like. That was anytime we're in, the finale, it's like, those walls are real. Like, that was a real set that we built. All these sets were real, there was no LED walls, or there was no green screen. There's none of that stuff. It's like everything that you see in this movie was, in camera.
Well said. Well, Chad, thank you very much for carrying this conversation. People will definitely check out It Feeds because, after watching this film, you could close your eyes, you could probably still see that creature in their mind. So thank you very much, Chad. Next
Thank
time.
you so much.